I've made it back to hot mainland Scotland. Since I came back here, there's been a heat wave, which is a big difference from the temperatures that I was experiencing up in Shetland. Some nights it was 4 degrees, 3 degrees. It was quite cold, but it's been like 25 degrees in Scotland the last few weeks, which has been amazing. I had the best time in Shetland, the scenery, the wildlife, the food. If you ever get the chance to visit Shetland, I highly recommend it. And if you do have a camper van to go with, I'd also recommend that. If you haven't watched my Shetland video already, I will link it below in the description so you can check it out. After doing my first trip in the camper van, it's made me realise how the camper van is for living, and also made me realise what I'd like to change or maybe add to the van to make it more comfortable and suitable for how I would use a camper van. So I'm going to start today on doing some DIY jobs in the van, and I'll share with you what those are. Over the next few months, I'm going to be doing lots more DIY on this van and turning it into my dream camper van for working online and travelling in Scotland. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is some rust that I found in the van. There is some electrical wiring that was set up for the fridge that was in the van, and I was checking inside the van to see what the current situation was with the wiring, and I followed the cables all the way down and in underneath this step. So I lifted up this step and unfortunately I found some rust in here, so I will show you that now. So after removing the step, as you can see, there's a lot of dirt in there which I'm going to sweep out, but also quite a lot of rust as well. So unfortunately I didn't see this when I got the van, but I think it's definitely treatable, and I've got the equipment today to deal with it and try and treat it. So I've got these tools that I'm going to use. First I'm going to use the wire brush, then I'm going to treat the rust using this rust treatment, and hopefully that will solve the issue. So this is the situation on the driver's side here, and as you can see there's the cables. So I was checking this wiring coming from the back of the van and going into the engine area there, and that's when I discovered this rust here. Now I've removed all the dirt, you can see a clearer picture here of the situation with the rust. So next I'm going to use the wire brush and try and remove as much of this rust as possible. So I've spent about 20 minutes brushing with the wire brush all the rust and then vacuumed away all the particles. So I think this will be ready now for the rust treatment to put it on. So I'm going to do the rust treatment on this side first and see how it is, and then I'll do the brushing on the other side. Okay, so I've just put the rust paint on and I'm going to leave this for 15 minutes and see what happens. Now I'm going to do the driver's side. This is what it looks like on the driver's side after doing the wire brush. So this is the driver's side. Underneath the seal here, it was quite rusty, and this seal is a bit rotten. Maybe in the future I can look at replacing that, but for the time being, at least I'll just put the rust paint to stop it getting worse. So after an hour it looks like this, and I've also put masking tape and also newspaper to get it ready for painting. So I'm going to have to wait 3 hours, and then I'm going to paint over it with red paint. The driver's side is looking like this. While I'm waiting 3 hours for the rust treatment to be ready before it can be painted, I'm going to make a start on some other jobs. So first I'm going to work on the mosquito net for the vent. So unfortunately there's a rip in that, so I'm going to replace the mosquito net so that I can use it during the night, especially in the summer when it's hot weather. It'll be nice to be able to use that and keep it open without insects coming into the van. So this is the mosquito net here, and as you can see there, unfortunately last week when it was being closed there was an accident and it ripped. So I'm going to replace that just now. I've bought some more mosquito netting and also some tape, so I've looked at how it's stuck on at the moment and hopefully this solution will work. So this is the mosquito netting that I've removed from the vent, and then I'm going to use that as a stencil to replace it. There's so much netting. If I need any more nets for the windows, I can definitely use this. So I've made the perfect shape for the mosquito net. I had about 4 attempts, the other ones were too short, so this one fits perfectly. So now I'm just going to use the tape and then do one side. So I think I'll cut this tape slightly shorter. It is a bit thick, I think it's 0.5 millimeter, so I'll cut maybe 1 or 2 millimeters off and then I'll see if this works. So I've stuck the tape on all the edges and now it's ready to attach to the vent. Fingers crossed this works. It worked! That idea actually worked really well and it looks really neat and tidy and it closes perfectly and it looks brand new. And I managed to get it quite tight as well. I was worried it would be a bit baggy, but actually it's just like it was before, which is great. So this is the test. Quite red, I think it's fine. Quite similar to the vehicle. So it's been 3 hours, the rust treatment has fully dried. Now I'm going to spray this red direct rust paint onto here. So this is going to be the top coat. So I will do 4 coats of this and between each coat I need to wait 15 minutes. So I hope the colour will be okay. Okay, so the first coat is done. Luckily nothing went on my clothes, but it looks okay. So after the first coat, it's looking like this. Pretty easy to apply. You just hold it 15 centimeters away from the metal. But yeah, I'll let that dry and then I'll just work on the other side now. This is what the driver's side is looking like after the first coat. So while I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm going to start making a form of curtain for the van. Out of all the things that I want to fix and change with the van, curtains is actually number 1. So the van itself does have tinted windows in the back. So there's the back window here, the side sliding door and this side. So these 3 are all tinted and there are some curtains which close off the cab area from the back. However, when it does get dark and if there is light inside the van, you can see in from outside. So there was some occasions in Shetland when I was getting changed. I wanted to get changed into my pajamas and it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I had the campsite's electricity plugged in, so I had the lights inside the van. So in order to get changed in the van, I had to turn off all the lights, get changed, and then put the lights back on again. So I would definitely like to have curtains in the van, and if it is nighttime and someone came along with a torch and looked in, they could see inside the van even if the windows are tinted. So before I go on my next trip, this is the number 1 thing I want to do. I found a YouTube video that had quite interesting looking homemade DIY curtains, so I'm going to try and give that technique a go. It was quite an affordable way to make curtains and it doesn't require any sewing, so I'm going to try this technique and I'll link the video below that I referenced to make these curtains. So the first step is to make a stencil for the window. So I'm going to use newspaper and make a stencil and then I'll use that to then make the curtains. Let's get started. Okay, stencil 1 is ready. Now I'll have a go on the back window. So this is going to be the biggest window of the 3 that I'm going to make. Okay, third and final stencil. It's actually easier than I expected. I originally started using the sellotape, but it was much easier to use masking tape. So while I was making the stencil, this was drying and now it's ready for round 2. Okay, last night it got dark, so I gave up doing the curtains after I finished all 3 stencils. Today I'm going to try and finish the curtains. It is an extremely sweaty day here in Scotland. It's 30 degrees today, which is unbelievable. I didn't even think it could reach 30 degrees in Scotland, so it's, yeah, very hot. So let's continue with the curtains, and I'm also going to show you what the paint is looking like now it's dried. This is the result of the paint. Overnight it dried, and this was 3 coats of paint that I did, so I'm really happy with how it's turned out. It looks really nice and I think the rust will probably be okay. And I'll also show you the driver's side. And this is what the driver's side looks like. So yeah, again, it turned out really lovely. That that seal is so rotten, so maybe I will look at changing that at some point. But yeah, very, very happy with the results and how it's turned out. So the basis for these covers for the windows, they're going to be more covers rather than curtains. So the reason why I'm going to be using this material and making covers is because of the colder temperatures in Scotland. So it does get quite cold in winter, and there's also condensation on the windows sometimes. So using this material means that it says on here, keeps your house warmer in the winter and also keeps your house cooler in the summer. So this will block any sun coming in during the hot summer months like today, and then in the winter it will keep it nice and warm. When I was in Shetland and when I was sleeping, I did feel the cold coming in, especially when I was sleeping with my head near the window. So this will hopefully reduce the amount of cold air that's coming into the van and just make it a bit more cosy. So these are the materials I'll be using to make the curtains. I'm going to be using this silver material for the stencil, then I'll be using carpet, glue, and then doing some finishing touches. Okay, time to check it fits. Oh, that's perfect. For extra thermal insulation, I'm going to double up. What I might do is glue this, stick it on, and then cut around it. I'm going to be using this trim adhesive glue, so this is good for sticking carpet. I'll link it below if you want to check it out. I got all the equipment for this on Amazon. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to check what side will be facing into the van, and then I'm going to carpet that side just to make it look a bit more cosy, especially for the colder months. I'm going to use the glue and stick the carpet onto the correct side. Okay, so the carpet is on and it's looking fantastic. I'm going to put some edges around just so that the carpet doesn't fall off. The carpet will be on the inside of the van, and then this will be facing towards the window. Really impressed with how this has turned out. It looks really professional. Maybe I could start selling these. If anyone wants to buy one, let me know. Okay, so I've finished these. It took around 3-4 hours in total, plus making the stencils last night was around an hour and a half. And the final thing I want to do is put a trim around the edge to make it look nice. So I bought this herringbone fabric, which I'm going to use. I think it's 2 centimeters. I will link it down below, the one I bought from Amazon. So it will go like this, and then I'm going to stick it around. So I think this might be the most difficult job of the whole process because there is going to be a lot of glue involved. I don't really want it to get onto the carpet. So all 3 of the thermal insulated window covers are ready, and now I'm going to check if they fit. So the big one here goes on the back, and I'll check that first. Wow, it blocks the heat immediately. Perfect! So I bought some of these sections, so what I was planning to do is put a hole, put this through, but for the moment it stays up by itself, which is really good. Next I will test this window here. That's great, so that one could probably do with some sections because it is falling down on the corners a little bit. I've just shut the door, it is so hot in here. And that is the third and final one. So that one is hanging out a little bit, so it will probably need some suction cups as well. So that's what the suction cups look like. I'm going to just do 6 around the edges, and if I need to, I'll put 1 more in the middle. Perfect! Oh, that stays in so nicely. These are so cool. I've put suctions on the back one as well, just in case it did fall down. I had lots of suction cups, so I thought I might as well use them. I am really happy with how these have turned out. They're so much better than I expected. It was very fiddly to do the edge with the herringbone fabric, but I think they look really good. They'll definitely do the job, which was make the van private in the evening so people can't see me getting changed into my pajamas, and then also in the winter it will help stop the cold getting in. And already right now when I put them on, I can feel the heat being blocked from coming in compared to when they're not on. Oh my goodness, it is so hot in here. So yeah, overall very happy with those. Thank you so much for watching my first DIY video today. I hope it was interesting to see the small changes that I'm starting to make inside the van, and if anyone is looking to make similar thermal curtains, you got some inspiration from today's video. I'll be sharing some more DIY over the next few weeks and also some more travel videos within Scotland, so make sure you're subscribed to follow along. See you next time. Bye!